All right. So when you first log in, you are going to look at this really overwhelming page that has a whole bunch of stuff going on that you don't have to worry about. So if we start with, was it Botanica Originals?
Original Botanica.
Could type in part of the names. Sometimes I'll just do a few letters because sometimes it's like there's no space. And so if you use a space, it won't find it, yada, yada. So now we're looking at the company profile page. And so here you can see the company name. And then this is how you access one of the ways you can access the reporting. Down here, you can see the individual campaigns for the account, but you don't really have to worry about any of that because you can just go straight into the reporting. If you hover over here, you can see that this is internal reporting and this is client reporting. The internal reporting is pretty stripped down for your purposes. You're going to want to jump into client reporting. So you can just click this button. And now we're in our client reporting. So starting at the top, you have the date range for all of the reports. So if you come in here, you can say, I just want to look at the last week, specify exact dates, last 2 months, 3 months, etc. Once you specify a date range, it'll like remember that date range, and so you can click around all the different reports, and it'll still keep that. So just for the sake of page load time, I'm going to stick with 7 days. In these reports, you have the summary dashboard. So this is the combination, if they're a combination of targeted tactics and email. So up here, you can see the total number of conversions as well as the revenue broken down by day. If you click these, you can remove them. Sometimes that's helpful for other reports where you have displays and conversions, and there's like a gazillion displays, so you can't even see the conversions if it's like 1 or 2% conversion rate. Um, Up here, you can kind of ignore these. This will copy that value to your clipboard. You can see up here, copied. So that's kind of nice, especially for numbers. This is only visible internally. Clients, I don't think actually see this. There's another thing that doesn't seem to be the case here, but we'll post like Salesforce opportunities to the report, but I'm going to skip over that for now. So this is a summary of conversion revenue. Down here, you can see targeted tactics summary and the anonymous email summary. You can see little more or less advertisements for the campaigns they're not currently using. So over here on the left, you can see that we're currently looking at the dashboard. There is a summary report that you can click into, which you can also click into here. This is a new feature, which is a comparison report that allows you to pull up either two different solutions, two different campaigns, two different date ranges, and then it gives you reporting side by side so you can compare those metrics. We'll go into that in a sec. And then down here at the bottom, you can see the two solutions. So targeted tactics, anonymous email. Same thing with the summary report. You can get in there by clicking these guys as well. If you click expand all, then you can see the configurations that are associated with each solution. This, hide and expand is because sometimes you'll have a gazillion configurations and it's just overwhelming, so you don't want to see them all. So let's start with targeted tactics. I'm going to click on either of these. It's irrelevant because there's only one. But we come in and you can see the overview for targeted tactics. And you can see here that we have a preview. These sometimes work, they sometimes don't. This one does, yay. So you can see what it looks like. And then if I click next, it'll take me to the desktop version. There it is. You can check out what it looks like. Again, you can see right here, this is the mobile. This was the first one we looked at, and then desktop was the second one we looked at. This is the new feature that, let's see if it's not in there yet. So we're working on getting the engagement rules to display within the reporting, but 99.9% of the accounts don't have them in there yet. From here, you can come over, you can see the initial launch. So it gives you an idea of when it started, the last time it launched, so in case it was paused, the clicks, conversions, conversion rate, AOV, and revenue should all be self-explanatory. Any questions on that? One other thing to note is you can also change the view. However, this feature you probably won't be using on this report because you're most likely going to be skipping over and going straight into performance. So this is what I was talking about where you might want to turn off display because it kind of just, distorts the graph. So now you can get an idea of the clicks and the conversions. This table down here shows you all the stats. And if you want to change the stats, you can click this little icon right here. And then you can hide things. Typically, you're not going to want to do that. Sometimes if it's an overwhelming report and there's all these different metrics going on, you just want to get a screenshot or do an export, you can just hide them. Um, it's all kind of self-explanatory. Up here with variants, this is also where you can say, hey, I just want to look at the desktop performance. Select desktop, apply, and now we're only looking at the desktop performance. This button over here, hide inactive configurations. In this example, we only have one, but if there's been like a seasonal update and they created a new config for the new one, you could hide the original configuration from the data by toggling this on and off. The breakdown down here is done by daily. You can also weekly, monthly, yearly. It's not relevant because I'm looking at a week, but it's good to know. And if you guys have questions at any point, please just jump in and stop me. Jill, if you have a correction or something you want to point out, please, of course, jump in and stop me.
I'm going to be honest, you actually just taught me 2 new things already that I didn't know we could do. So
Huzzah.
that's awesome.
I do have a
Um,
question.
yeah,
Sorry.
yeah, of course.
The revenue, is that what the brand is making or what we are bringing in?
That is what the brand is making. Good question.
Got
Yeah. So you can get a rough estimate by going into the Salesforce profile and then looking at our CPA that's defined on the term sheet. However, that's a rough estimation because there's returns and there's a delay, and it's not like a 1-to-1 ratio, but it gives you a good idea.
Cool.
Okay. Geolocation. This is pretty limited. It's only relevant if you're looking at this and you're like, oh my gosh, they've got a huge percentage of traffic in this foreign language country. Maybe we want to create a segment that targets that language. In this case, that's other. So it's just, there's nothing real. There's not like a huge opportunity here. They also speak English. So looking at this, not an opportunity. That's really all you're going to see is maybe there's an opportunity for translations. Sales report. This is a individual breakdown of every conversion. And so if you come in, you can take a look by expanding it. You can see where this person lived and their order value. Not really something you guys are going to worry about. This is mainly used for like debugging and figuring out when a client's arguing about an order or why isn't it tracking. So it's good to know it's good to know it's there, but it doesn't matter. This also probably, to be honest, I'm not even super familiar with this report, but you also don't really have to worry about it.
I don't even know what that report does. I've never looked at it.
Yeah, I don't,
It's not really relevant, I don't
yeah, it
think.
must be. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not going to speculate. And so now let's drop into the email reporting.
It's not
Same
live
thing.
yet. Just heads up.
Oh, yeah, it's going to be very uneventful, huh? We
I
have the
mean, it'll be there
configs.
for testing.
Yeah, but you can see they're all, there's no conversions. But it's the same thing in terms of this graph where you can see all of the different metrics. One thing I neglected to point out on the last one was for click rate, you can change the way that click rate is calculated. So for marketing purposes, and if we want to present like the best possible metric, we might want to say, hey, I want to look at how many clicks over opens, because that's going to be a more impressive number. In reality, you want to be looking at clicks over leads because you're saying, hey, we collected this many email addresses. How many of those people actually click back to the website? And that's same for the conversion rate. So the most impressive is going to be conversions over clicks because that's a smaller segment, less people clicked. So you're dividing 1/10 versus conversions over leads where you'd be dividing 1/1,000. And then all of a sudden your conversion rate looks like crap.
Did we get
Same.
rid of the unique clicks column? Or is that only for lead captures? I thought it was for both. Because usually it's
I
clicks, because like sometimes you get the same user who clicks multiple times versus unique clicks. Am I tripping?
I don't remember unique clicks being in here. Maybe it is in a
I'm
lead capture.
I know it used to be in there because that was like a key talking point for reporting that I would do, but now I'm wondering if it's only lead capture. I need to know. Anyway,
Um,
just wanted to throw that out there because
yeah,
I know
yeah,
that's
no,
our field we report on.
it's a good point. And okay, so those are the solutions. They're all down here. And then the thing I skipped over was the summary. So up here is where you can kind of start to get an idea of what our actual lift is. So to get a true lift, you have to do an incremental lift test, which is basically saying group A gets upsell it, group B does not get upsell it. What is the difference in conversion rates? That delta is the lift, right? Any questions on that? Cool. So what we can do here, though, is kind of give a pseudo lift test because we can take a look and see how many conversions they're driving. So this is all conversions. So you can see they have 132 sales on desktop and 262 sales on mobile. You could then compare that to our performance, where you could say, okay, we did 57 on-site conversions and, well, it's not live, so 0. So you could take that 57 and you'd take the total conversions minus the conversions we provided, and then divide that by the, sorry, I did this backwards. I'll write it out for you guys. The equation for calculating a lift is new value minus old value divided by old value. So it's, we'll get into that later, but basically the takeaway here is this is how you could calculate the impact that we're having. You could tell them the actual lift of 57 conversions compared to what they're doing by themselves. But you have to subtract the total, what we're doing from the total conversions, because this includes us. There's also another snapshot report that we can go into later that makes that a little bit easier, but you get the idea. Okay, and then let's round it out with the comparison report. So this is a new report where you can compare two different data sets. So you can label these if you want to, but I'm not going to at this moment. Let's say we want to look at targeted tactics, and then you can select multiple solutions, but we'll stick with targeted tactics. Select the configuration. So we'll say all pages and stages because it's the only one. And then we can come down here to the campaign and say, I want to only look at desktop for the last 7 days. And then I can just either create a brand new, or sorry, this is to review it. So this is where I can take a look and see, hey, what did I just select? In case there are a whole bunch of things that it's kind of difficult to see in the drop-down menu. In this case, it's not. And then you can also duplicate this comparison, which makes it easy for what we want to do. If we're going to compare desktop to mobile, now you can just duplicate this and then change this to mobile. And then if you want to start from scratch, maybe it's a different solution and you want to clear everything out, you can just create a brand new comparison. 3 is the max amounts of data that you can compare. In this case, we really only have 2 different data sets available. And then if you click that trash button like I just did to remove one of the data sets. And then once you have everything specified, you can run the report. And up here, you can see data set A versus data set B. But this used to be editable, but it's not anymore for some reason. So you can see the displays, clicks, click rate, conversions, conversion rate, and it's telling you it's doing it by clicks, AOV, and then the revenue. And then down below, you can see for mobile, the displays, and you can see that mobile has 405% more displays than desktop. It's really important for you guys. Oh my gosh, we should really focus our optimization efforts on mobile because it's getting so much more exposure. The number of clicks is also obviously higher. The click rate is actually higher, which is great. The conversion rate is significantly higher, which is interesting. And then the conversion rate over clicks is actually lower. AOV is also higher. That's interesting too. And then the revenue is obviously higher as well. Same way that you edited the columns and the other reports, you can edit the KPIs that are displayed here by coming up. And let's say you actually want to look at conversion rate over displays. Maybe you don't care about clicks. Maybe you don't care about, I don't know, displays. And now you have a cleaner thing, a little cleaner set of data. If you wanted to, you could possibly screenshot this and include it in one of your reports. It's nice and pretty looking. Pretty
You
enough.
can also click on the different metrics to change the graph. So like if you click on like AOV, Brian, the graph will change because you're highlighting click rate right now, and now you're highlighting AOV.
Yep, exactly. And so it changes this report in the same way. You can also, I don't know why you would, because you're comparing, but you can remove one if you wanted to. And then down here is basically just a breakdown, like just all the individual data by date that makes up the data that's up above. So you can see data set A for the 16th versus B for same day. Then it just alternates all the way down. But not something you're really going to worry about. This is mainly for if you want to download it and throw in Excel and start messing with the numbers. That's really why this is here. The biggest thing is up here. The other thing I forgot to mention is the confidence. So confidence is really important. Confidence is statistical significance. So there's like a KISS metrics calculator that I always use, but basically it's saying like, do we have enough data to confidently say this is performing, 31% better? And the confidence is 79, which is basically saying, no, we don't have enough data yet. This isn't a reliable metric. You really want to get to 95% confidence before you can say conclusively, yes, this is performing better or worse than the other one. 17% is extremely low confidence. Any questions on that? Cool. And I think maybe that will round us out for today. I guess maybe it would help to maybe see a lead capture campaign. Do you have any that come to mind, Jill?
Uh, I just looked at On-Course Learning because that was one we onboarded and went live this year. We haven't really done a lot of lead captures lately that actually went live. But I did check them. The unique clicks are specific to the lead capture campaign. So
Perfect. Okay, let's take a look.
there.
So there's a lot more campaigns. So this is the same summary overview that we saw with the targeted tactics. A lot more going on. Let's see if the previews work.
Another thing I'll just throw out there, an initiative that started earlier this year is Darren is having us update all the naming conventions for the site IDs and the various config IDs. So super high level, but you have like a unique identifier. Think of the social security number for the brand. Underneath that, admin ID or company ID will be a site ID or specific campaign builds, also with a unique identifier. Underneath the site IDs are the various configurations, whether we change the launch rules, we change the creatives, the copy, anything else. So in this case, you're looking at several, but you can see you're under one or you're under two site IDs with all the different configurations. I say that because we are working on updating all the site ID names to have the launch rules. So if it's active cart, pre-cart, all pages, all stages, or whatever these specific launch rules are, should be the site ID name. So 10% off active cart abandonment targeted tactic. Under the config IDs should have something a little bit more specific. So I have one brand that updates the creatives every month. So I just put the month and the year so I know what should be live. This does not look as clean. Unfortunately, you see a lot of 1As that are paused. Some that we changed the sender name of the email just to ensure better deliverability. And then you can see like the top two desktop updated 5/2025 and then mobile updated 5/2025. We're trying to get away from that so you know what was updated or what changed. So just so you know, you may see some that are not going to help you. You may have to ask what the difference is for each configuration. What did we change? Why did we change it? Hopefully, eventually, a few months from now, it should be relatively cleaned up for you guys. So a little bit more clear on what you're looking at in terms of changes for each site ID or each campaign. This one's a little messy.
Yeah, well, and like I was saying before, the inactive configurations. This is a good opportunity to say like, hey, just hide all the paused things because I'm only worried about optimizing what's already live. So it's kind of nice to clean it up a little bit for us. Okay, so let's go through the different reports. This has got a little bit more extensive reporting. So lead recovery, so you can see how many displays we've had, how many leads were collected, whatever that percentage is, just collected over displays. And then on-site conversions is 22. And then in this case, we have it defaulted to conversions over lead. So let's look at conversions over display. So of the abandoning visitors, 9.82% actually convert from our solution. And then this is the on-site conversion rate. So these are people who didn't click through the email. They entered their email address in the lead capture and then went on to make that purchase same session. So that's the on-site conversions. Now, if we want to look at the email conversions, we can jump over to send performance. And this is where you only looking at the email stats. So 32 leads, one of them bounced, 92 delivered. Anybody want to venture a guess as to why the number delivered is higher than the number of leads? It's because we send 3 emails. So we're sending 3 emails per lead collected. So that's why there's 98 delivered. Of those 98, 21 were open. There's your open rate. 12 people clicked. Again, you can adjust your click rate as you choose. And then unique clicks. So this is what Jill was talking about before, where basically if somebody gets 3 emails and they clicked on all 3, that's still just one person. That's really one click. And so we're not like inflating the number of clicks. We show unique. So one person clicked on either one email twice or 2 different emails once. And then the number of conversions, and you can adjust the conversion rate the same way as before. Any questions on that? Great.
Just to confirm, if someone gives their email, but then like converts without looking at the email, we don't get paid for that, and the brand just gets the email for free. I mean, they would have gotten the email anyway because the person
No, we still get
purchased.
paid. We get paid.
Oh, we do.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Oh, wow.
the modal and all the emails have our tracking link injected. So if they submit their email in that same session and go on to convert, we get the last click. Kind of helps us in a way because if they
Yeah.
override us between submitting their email and clicking and converting from the first email, for example, we will override whoever overrode us the first time. So
Hmm.
it kind of
Have
works
brands
out.
ever said anything about that?
They may like question how it works, but so many affiliates are based on last click attribution. I think the big thing I get asked is like, hey, this person clicked 30 days ago but didn't purchase for 30 days. How come you still get the sale? Well, because your cookie window that you have set up in the network
Yeah.
and provided to us is 30 days. So that last click attribution stays active for 30 days. Day, 31, it's wiped out, it's cleared. Um, Sometimes I've
Yeah.
had some that go up to like 120 days. So if we're the last click affiliate for 4 months, we will get that sale up to 4 months later.
Interesting. And then just really quickly, because I'm interested, is this lead capture? Well, I'm seeing here 15% off. If they put their email in, is that 15% off then applied in the cart right then? And then they also get emails?
Depends. So if they submit their email, we almost always try to auto apply it upon submission of the email.
Yeah.
However, some brands do prefer we actually send that first email, so we will send it out immediately. We won't wait like an hour or 30
Yeah.
minutes or whatever the brand prefers. But more often than not, if we can help it, we try to auto apply it right then and there. And then if they leave the site, they get that first email. They click the CTA in the email, they go to the site, we'll auto apply that coupon code for them and they convert. They will not get the second and third email. So it's up to 3 emails they may receive.
Yeah.
Just if they convert on email 1, they don't get 2 or 3. If they convert on email 2, they don't get email 3, and so on.
Okay, that makes sense. I was like, why would someone give us their email and then like that's saying, ooh, get 15% off, but then not wait for the 15% off? But if it's auto applying, that makes a lot
Yeah.
more sense. I mean, I've also done that. I'm like, where the hell's my coupon? I can't wait for this, and I'll buy it anyway. On
Well,
instant gratification.
yeah, we want them to be able to like apply that coupon same session. It's much
Yeah.
more likely they're going to purchase. So that's
Okay.
the preference. We're trying to sell it that way. Sometimes clients will want to require the email click though.
Yeah.
And I mean, usually, like if the user submits their email, that brand gets the email regardless on if we ever
Yeah.
had to send an email or not. Some brands are just very particular with coupon codes, especially this day and age. They really want to make sure they have that email, so I have to show them the reporting. You can download it. So even if they convert that same session, they once again have to enter their email to complete the checkout. So you're getting their
Yeah.
email twice, essentially.
Yeah.
But brands are crazy these days, so whatever they want, we try to do.
We don't do a ton of pre-cap. Sorry, also I'm just like not trying to waste anyone's time. We don't do a ton of pre-capture anymore, do we?
Not so much anymore. Most brands are really interested in the anonymous campaign, which may or may not perform well for them. So that's the one we saw the other day with that wrapper. Brian, I don't think the pre-capture campaign has the wrapper too, right? Because we are scraping.
No, it doesn't. Good. The video
I haven't
better
done a
work.
pre-capture campaign
Um,
in so long.
yeah, well, and I guess just to clarify, our anonymous email campaign includes pre-capture. So we're
Mm.
still doing a ton of pre-capture. It's
Oh,
just
okay.
it's
All
more
right,
rare that
yeah.
we only do pre-capture. See, so we have our, consumer database that's bundled in with our pre-capture technology. We call that anonymous.
Yeah.
Sometimes the client is only doing that scraping.
I just remember like back in the day, PEs would pitch lead captures a lot, like bundled with pre-capture, but I don't hear much of that anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like Jill
I
said, lead
I mean,
captures
a
have
lot
kind of
of
slowed down a
people,
little bit.
yeah, people were kind of like opposed to it as well. But if
A
you
lot of
if you wrap
brands,
it up into anonymous, they don't care. But if you say, oh, if they type in half their email, we can grab that for you. They weren't into that, but they like
Mhm.
the sound of anonymous.
a lot of brands, it's so easy for them to do it themselves that, yeah, they could pay us a percentage of every sale we make. But I'm gonna be honest, most lead captures don't always perform that great unless it's like a save your progress type of strategy. Like, hey,
Yeah,
you're filling out this 10-page pre-qualification just to find out if we could maybe pre-qualify you for this home loan.
yeah.
Like that's probably one I just did recently, but that's one I would probably not even tell Brian to show you because it hurts my brain. Anyway, that performs well because like who wants to sit there for, let's just say, an hour filling out a very long form, save it
Yeah.
and come back to it later. So that's where upsell it can be a little bit stronger in terms of like our competitors. But if it's like, hey, give me your email for 15% off, let's be honest, all of us here probably have a spam email for that kind of thing. Most everyday users do not, and they don't want to get spammed any more than they do. So that's why we usually push our targeted tactic. No email, just click the button and get X or Y off, or
Yeah.
hey, you didn't know we had free shipping all the time, always. People love that word free, seriously. I'm not the
It's a
biggest fan
make
of
or
lead
breaker for
capture.
me, that's for sure.
Yeah, a lot of brands they have it, but they don't push it.
Yeah.
Um, that's where we come in.
So real quick, because I have a few minutes left. So I'll
Sorry.
skip over lead data. No, it's fine. It's great questions. Um, Lead data is basically similar to the sales report, where it's not going to be relevant to you guys. It's for somebody that wants to verify something. It's for basically debugging and clients that are questioning us. The journey report is interesting. Let's see if I open this up. It'll be more interesting. Um, so this is going to show you basically how long it takes them to convert. So you can see here the average was 11 days. So it seemed really high. But this one was the average was 1 hour from email submission to conversion, 6 days. Not necessarily something you can use, but if you see kind of like a weird skew where it's like, oh, most people are converting immediately, or most people are converting a week later, then maybe we want to play with the email send times to say, like, okay, well, if it takes them a week to convert, maybe we want to send the first email immediately, the second email, push it out a week, third email, maybe push that out another week because the opportunity, it's like a longer consideration process or buying process. So, it gives you insight into your email send times, basically. Um, Feedback. You know what? Let's go back to 7 days. I haven't looked at this in a while, but I think this is more or less people that are unsubscribing, which could be insightful if you're seeing high unsubscribe rates. So then maybe there's some optimizations that we can do. Wow, what a letdown. So I guess,
Maybe
Jill, do you
expand your
remember?
date range. That might be why you're only looking at 7 days.
Yeah, like I turned it, still should be something in there. But this is just unsubscribes, right? That's all.
I
That's all
don't
that's
know.
in
I
here.
never go to that tab, to be honest.
Yeah, so we can ignore it. Geolocation's the same thing as target tactics. Um, Sales report is the same thing that we looked at for target tactics, individual sales. and then we'll skip over this because neither Jill or I really know what it is. And I think we're at the end here.